media encounter after appearing on one slightly in my constituency yesterday when I returned from our participation in the World Cup, which of course is still ongoing, and we have entered the semis and we will surely get to the end of it.
Certainly, and we don't take it lightly at all that you made time to be with us this morning. We really appreciate it.
Your platform is a big platform.
We are honored.
When you call, we have to obey.
We are honored, Honorable. We're honored. But how is it like being Minister for Sports in Ghana? How's the pressure? How do you deal with it?
Well, you know,
Ghanaians love sports. It's the air we breathe, and if you're in charge of that sector, how is it like?
It's a difficult one, and His Excellency the President summed it all when he said, "If you take out the President of the Republic in terms of presidents and presidents, the next person who is most talked about is the President of the Football Association."
True.
And when he inaugurated us and gave us the marching orders for the performance of our duties, I remember very well on the 7th of February 2025, he said one thing. He said he doesn't envy my job. And
he mentioned it. He doesn't envy you at all.
At all. True to his indication, that is how we have lived it. But the good thing is that when you enjoy the support of the president, and when he understands what it is to do to be able to lift the sporting ecosystem to the next level, it makes your work a bit more easier,
right,
than what people think. And I've been so lucky working with presidents who, in a way, I fit into. You may be given a difficult assignment, but by their nature and how they understand that difficult sector they have given you, it makes it a bit more easier for you.
They appreciate the difficulty in working in that sector.
They appreciate the difficulties, right. And they have a certain level of understanding and appreciation of what it is that must go in getting you the results that you want. One of such was His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings, and working with people would think that working with him is so difficult. No, all you need is to birth truth. Is to birth truth out of your dealings with him, and the rest will just be history. The rest will just follow. The rest is given. Same thing applies with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. His understanding, just get him the information and do the right thing.
Right.
And for me, he made it easier for us that there should be sunshine. There should be a level of transparency that will enable you carry the people along. So right from the word go, my work has been cut out there for me. That this is a place where people have operated. They say, oh, you need some level of opacity.
Exactly.
You don't have to talk about this. You don't have to talk about benefit for players.
Some secrecy.
Yeah. If you talk about it, this problem will happen. They will rebel. They will do this. They will do that. But I also sat down and asked myself, but is it not the same sports that is also practiced in other parts of the world, where we sit here and we know how much
is going where,
and how much a player is signed for, how much a player is earning for a week. Just this morning, I was watching a television station and I saw a player being signed from Chelsea to Man U.
Andre Santos.
And it stated clearly, this is for 50 million. That is how much he's being signed on.
So it's transparent everywhere.
So it's transparent.
So why shouldn't our own
be? Why shouldn't it be same here?
Right.
And that it is rather when you introduce opacity and you allow so much room for speculations, and people will throw this and you may end up running here and there having to defend. So The president made the work a bit easier for me when he directed that certain things must be made public, and starting with our football and extending it to other sports. So when you do it, it's not you. It is the president that have given directive that this is how it should be done.
Right.
And so that made it a little bit easier for me. But being a sports minister anywhere is not an easy thing.
Not at all.
Not an easy because people love it.
There's a lot of passion, emotion
there's
attached
passion
to it.
and emotion attached to it. So, and an industry where there is passion and emotion, sometimes facts no longer really matter. It no longer matter. So the emotion and the passion take the center stage of it. So take, for example, not maybe moving ahead of time, look at our head coach. We played against Panama. We sat on tenterhooks. We won. We came against England, and we drew, and we were so happy, full of praise of him, how great he was, and so on and so forth. We went against Croatia. Well, people have in their mind, we had already qualified. For the first time, we went to a World Cup where after playing 2 games, we knew that we were already in the next round. So our third match was more like given. We didn't have to struggle so much. If we won it, well, it would take us somewhere else.
Right.
If we didn't, it would take us. So it was a matter of just looking at where you wanted to play more and you had opportunity to try many other hands.
Right.
So that was not so much of a problem. But when we came against Colombia and it didn't go well, you saw the transition. The same person that was praised and then the rest, the level, the bashing and everything that went his way and others. So that is how sports is. So it is never a place that you say, oh, I have done this and so I have done so well. So you can go to rest and think that, oh, the next moment you will be praised because of you don't get that. You don't get that.
You don't live on past glories.
You don't live on past glories.
Anyways. So 2 things. If you were to assess, if the president was to assess you on your performance as Minister for Sport and Recreation so far from January 2025 up until now, what do you think would be the president's assessment of you?
Well, it will be difficult for me to tell what the president will assess of me. But if you ask me to assess myself, first and foremost, the most important thing is to bring stability to the sector that you are responsible for.
Okay.
Bring stability and see that a proper foundation is laid for a future development of sports, not just football. And I must say that we have so far journeyed well. In terms of the stability and the foundation. Stability, the foundation. Look, critically speaking, if you take, we have been able to identify some of the key challenges that confront us as a country when it comes to sports and sports development. And sports is such that because it's a discipline, excellence is not achieved just overnight. And excellence cannot be achieved if you pick and choose. You have to basically understand the problem, look at how to deal with the problem, but of course it doesn't also mean that because you see the problem and you think that the solution to the problem would have to be a long-term implementation of a certain project, so you ignore the immediate needs also. So, for example, you come in, you have a group of persons, some vocal, some voices behind the scene, who would think that, no, we don't like this situation. When His Excellency appointed me as a sector minister, the cry and the concerns of many was that they thought maybe our football sector is being frauded with so many other things. So just take actions that will even lead maybe the international federation to even ban us. We are prepared to be banned. So we go back and plan very well and work our way through to getting back and reaching the levels that we want to reach. But you have to ask yourself that you think, is this the way to go? Because for sports, like we have said earlier, it's an emotional thing, it's a thing of passion. So sometimes some of those comments are based on emotions and are based on the passion that they have. If you give them that type of solution, in the next moment, the same people, when they begin to see others assemble for various events and various activities that you are not there, they will take you on. They've forgotten that they were the same persons who asked you that. Take some actions that will lead to this. What you need is therefore to look at solving the immediate problem, and also as well as setting the agenda for a long-term solution to what has brought us to the immediate problem.
And I'll take you there. I'll take you on that tangent, Honorable. We're looking at the foundation to build up. We'll get to the immediate problem, and that, of course, certainly will have to do with the Black Stars. If we're building the foundation and there has been a certain template that as a nation we're used to, that gave us success in previous years, decades ago, when we won the AFCON, for instance, there was a clear path of development from Colts football, under 17, under 20, under 23, even the Ghana Premier League at that time, it was at a certain level. Even when we were not getting immediate results, people were confident that we're following the right path. But the argument now is that that's not what we're doing. We have neglected cold football, the junior teams, and we're only focusing on the problem right now, and it is not helping us.
So you are so right. That's the existing problem that has been identified.
Yes.
So you don't solve it almost immediately. It will take quite some time. So what have we identified? We have identified that the reason for that problem existing is the neglect of what we call school sports.
Okay.
So in the past, Colts, as we found it, did so well because mostly also we had, whether we like it or not then, even when we were in secondary schools, we had a group of persons who would tell you that for us, we are just here to do sports. We are not here to be part of your general academic activity. So some of them come even during the sporting term, and sometimes the other terms you may not even find them. Then they come again during the sporting time. They come and perform, and then they go for some time. Then they come. They will tell you, sports for a ball na ball to America. So we just come and do that.
We just do
go.
Sports.
And we had some persons out there who you will not find in the schools, who most of them were also collected and put into some of these Colts clubs, and they had their time to run around. A few, of course, will go to school. They close from school. They will come and join and go. But a number of them, you can't find them in the classrooms. As a country, we have come through a point where we introduced the F-Cube, Free Compulsory Universal Basic Education, which meant that many more young persons at the basic levels are in school. Many more are also in secondary schools because of the free secondary education.
So we're tackling the problem at the root. That's what you're saying.
At the root. So if after having moved these young persons who previously were not in the schools, were not in the classroom, and were available for code systems and what have you, having moved them to the schools, you don't break school sports. You don't weaken school sports. You then must strengthen school sports and make sure that school sports is not left to be decided by just some few, whether this year a school will get involved in football, Then next year there will be no football for you. Maybe you do some athletics. Then another year you do some other sports activities. That is what has been happening. So if you take a calendar of 3 years for a particular young person who is in JHS for 3 years, if you are a good footballer, you may only get opportunity to compete only once. You get to secondary level also, sometimes first year nothing happens. So you get a chance to maybe compete in the second year. By the third year, you are going to be writing your exam, so your focus is on your exam.
Yeah.
So not much steady investments has been going on at the school level. His Excellency thought that no, if we really want to bring back sports and graduate it all the way to the senior level, attention must be paid
to
at
school sports. Okay.
And that is why we are taking the steps to establish a proper secretariat that will coordinate school sports, working with GES and Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Sports and Recreation to make sure that school sports will no longer just become something that we wait and say, okay, there's no money, it gets sacrificed. There's no time, it gets sacrificed. It must be part and parcel of the curriculum of the development of what? The young persons.
Okay, so since that idea was generated and was built upon, what has been the concrete steps to implement it really on the ground? We see Milo Games, for instance, we see Interco, for instance, but beyond these events, in terms of curriculum, in terms of the various basic schools we have dotted around the country, practically, how is the idea of school sports investment, how is it happening there?
So this is where I say it can't just happen over a month, a year, or two. So various programs, various activities have to be drawn. So the first thing we did was to make sure that we brought together stakeholders. We agreed that this is the way to go. An appointment is made. Someone who understands sports development is made. Professor Sapon appointed as school sports coordinator. He has a deputy, Wanda Mandel, who together have put up a document which they have worked on engaging various stakeholders that will now be implemented. You must admit and realize that a lot more activity seems to be happening at the school level these days than it was maybe a few years ago. And the intention is to make sure that this becomes the order of the day.
Okay.
That, for example, you won't go to an average school and you won't have, say, a discus. You won't have shot put. You won't have javelin. You won't have, there are some schools that students who go through, they will never even know what is javelin. That should not be the order of the day. So as part of allocations that we have had as a ministry, part of our goods and services this year is to be used in procuring some of those things and to be strategically distributed. Yes, all schools may not get it at the same time, but we want to pick it as a project and begin to do it bit by bit.
Okay.
It is also part of the reason why we put together a sports fund to make sure that this sports fund will be receiving funds from various sources and also moving out there to campaign extensively to be able to raise, because basically it all boils down to funding.
Okay. Honorable,
and government alone cannot fund sports. Okay. Government can do just a bit. Look, we just returned from the World Cup.
Yes.
Which happened in Mexico, Canada, and US of A. At least I was privileged to be in Canada and also in the United States of America, because those were the two countries we played. If you look at many of the facilities that were used for the World Cup, majority of them
is
in the United by private
sector. Makes sense.
Private.
Okay.
It's not government.
So, Honorable, if we leave the school sports investment, the concern now is how we transition into mainstream sporting activities. So for the athletics competition, for instance, if the students are trained, they get the basic skills at the school, they should follow a certain pattern so that they can become professionals. Yeah. Now, this is the case where the transition teams or groups are also not performing very well. They're not getting the investment that they need.
So when you take the some track and field events, you are not able to have a situation of them being organized like into clubs beyond the school systems. So you can't have like a club for 4x4 or 100-meter. You can. So you need to create a certain structure, and that is where the sports college in Winneba also comes in.
Yes, and how far with that?
So again, that is also another facility that we're seeking to develop for it to become one, not just a center of training, but it's also become a center of excellence. One area we have lacked, and which we must all admit that has led us to this point, is the absence of professionals in various fields.
They should be trained.
Exactly.
And
so
that's
why we ask that. So the vision of founding maybe many administrations many years ago in establishing something like the Winneba Sports College and all the rest. Why did we kill it? Yes, we agree that our tertiary institutions are training persons in sports-related fields and what have you. But many of these are not being trained to the level of professionalism. They are being given the raw general degree training. So there should be an institution like the Sports College in Winneba that will be developed to the point that it can be accredited to award professional certification, so that somebody can finish maybe University of Education Winneba as a PE person, then go to that college to be professed, to fine-tune and become a professional certified to now be able to. So we are going through all these processes. There's a bill that we have submitted to Cabinet that has given, Cabinet has given its approval now for the Winneba, the sports college there, to become a college that will award professional certificates. So in other words, we have to raise the standard. That is equally also being worked on. That's why I said things like these don't just happen overnight.
Based on the promises that the NDC made as part of developing sports before they won the 2024 elections, the sports college was amongst them.
Yeah, that's why I'm telling you.
Redevelopment, the construction, and all of that. But as we speak, granted that it is not supposed to happen in a day or two or a month and all of that. People want to see real impacts. They want to see real work being done. So they're asking, where is it? You said you would do it. You gave timelines. Where's the college?
We have a mandate for 4 years, and we will not be able to complete. I just told you that a bill had gone through to Parliament. Parliament has, Cabinet. Cabinet has given approval. Now at the ministry level, we are fine-tuning and finishing everything, working with the Attorney General and with the Minister for Education for us to be able to conclude everything and present to Parliament. And once Parliament concludes, then it means that the processes of establishing, completing that promise in our manifesto will then be done, because at the end of the day, you need to go through all these processes. So it's not like we've been sleeping. We've done quite a number of things in that area. Just the same way that we saw through the sports fund bill, we will see this one also through. And before the end of our first term in 2028, you would have the sports college functioning effectively in the manner that we said we wanted it to be.
Before the end of the first term of the
Of course.
And you've done...
But for a few other things that we need to do, the bill should have been in Parliament by now. But so very soon we'll get it dashed and done and then transmitted to Parliament.
So it begins the conversation about sporting facilities we have in the country. The stadiums that we have, or the stadia that we have as a nation, management of these installations, we don't seem to do well. You go to the various pitches, they are not meeting standards. You go to the stands, the stadium itself is not meeting standard. How is the ministry not able to fix these things that belong to Ghana, that will contribute to building the image of the country when it comes to sports development.
You see, you are very right, and it's something that really bothered me by myself. And you remember those times, sports facilities used to attract a lot of attention, whether during playtime, the numbers that will attend the stadium, and the numbers that will pay, and out of that, the revenue that could be generated. It got to a point where stands became so empty. Then you ask yourself, why were they becoming empty? They were becoming empty because when you go there and you don't get the kind of service that you want, unless you are a fanatic of a particular team,
that's why you go there regardless.
That's where you go there regardless. Yeah. But even for that, it gets to a point where you think that, no,
you've had enough.
You've had enough.
True.
Especially when even the club itself maybe doesn't share enough information. The engagement, the fan engagement is not happening. You don't see the need to follow. So we need to be deliberate in making sure that we bring in other services into our facilities. Look, what we call the business part of sports facilities, mostly we ignore it. That even corporate boxes, do you know that our Accra Sports Stadium, the corporate boxes and the rest that we have, we rented them out and some turned them to storage facilities, where that's where they store their things.
Who oversaw that?
Well, that was what we came and that's what we witnessed.
What's the situation now?
No, so we've stopped. We said no. The corporate boxes cannot be turned into storage facility. If you want to store your, you want to warehouse anything, the stadium facilities are not warehouses. They are supposed to be an everyday functioning point. But of course, the whole stadium also needs some level of what? Renovation. The commitment now is, if we put in so much to renovate, are you going to make sure that you maintain it and run activities such that it will be beneficial? Not for me, not even just about repaying, but about it being beneficial. And will you do things that will allow people to pay a certain value for a ticket? During the World Cup qualifiers, the first game that we did, in order to let people know that we are bringing in something new, we decided to open the first gate. As the minister, the first game that we had, we didn't take anything from anybody, because I wanted them to come and have a feel that the game environment can be changed, something can be added to give you a certain joy just beyond the football, the 90 minutes football that is played. Something is being added.
Yeah.
The subsequent one that we did, then I said, well, now we have given them these taste, they had a certain feel. Let's begin to now charge fees, gate fees, that will enable us also do some level of what? Maintenance. Because I don't want to go to a stadium so that when I want to maybe empty my bladder, I enter the washroom and I cannot immediately, my bladder feels like it is no more full. Just because of the environment that will confront me. Sometimes you feel like emptying your bladder, you enter, and all of a sudden,
you lose interest.
It's like, oh no, my bladder is no more full. I would rather hold it and take it home. That should not be the situation. But how can you turn this around? You cannot turn it around by taking 10 CD, 20 CD, and those kind of things. You need to charge a certain commensurate fees that will enable you to do the work, to do the cleaning. When I proposed this by the sports people who ran the stadium, and they said, oh, it's too much, people won't come. Finally, every ticket was sold. So it tells you that when you do things right, people will pay what they must pay to help you also do certain things in the manner that must be done. So we agree that we need to renovate our facilities. His Excellency the President is committed to us even building some basic sports facilities for the new regions. And he insists that these new facilities must not only be for football. They must have athletic tracks, and they must have other facilities for the other off-track events.
Yeah.
And that is what we are working towards. This year, we hope to commence the first 3, and next year also we will add another 3.
But you promised the new regions you would create
Yeah, that's
build
what-
stadiums.
yeah.
You build stadiums for them. We'll get to that, but still on the maintenance problem, the Accra Sports Stadium, the Bayara Sports Stadium, Cape Coast, all of those.
AC Pond, Aliu Mahama Stadium.
So the solution you're proposing is that if we want to maintain it, then we need to look at the business side. That will include increasing tickets.
Increasing tickets is just one of it, but make the stadium an everyday center of what activities, not just match days. And on the match day, it should not just be people coming there just to come and watch the football.
Other services should be available.
Other services should be available, so you can generate a lot more.
Okay, so
and
how
off match days.
How is the ministry going to do these very beautiful solutions?
Well, it involves quite a lot of money. We are sitting with our finance people, because we must bring in government. Ultimately will have to lead the way in our part of the world.
Yes.
We are talking to the private sector, but sometimes when the private sector sees the numbers and then the interest, some of them shy away. But luckily for us, we have some of our facilities that are strategically located. Accra Sports Stadium is one of them. Look, if we are able to renovate that stadium and create a lot more corporate boxes, people will come and rent those boxes for their meetings. People will can have other conference rooms there. People will come there for conference activities, because it is strategically located.
Okay.
Again, take the Cape Coast Stadium. It is also strategically located.
All the stadiums are.
Take Babayara, take Aliu Mahama.
Exactly.
Maybe the only one that I would say is out of town is the AC Pond Stadium, that I would say it's completely out. But even then, when you make sure that all the facilities that were envisaged are functioning and functioning well, you attract a lot of business to such facilities.
But the state has to start.
The state has to start.
Okay.
No doubt about that. And I believe that the sports fund that we have created, if we can all support it, it becomes a structured way of mobilizing resources, monitoring utilization, and to benefit all of us.
And if the state is starting, it means the state is giving more money.
The state must give
in
more
essence.
money. The state must give more money.
The sports ministry, and but we have a lot of questions to go through, so we'll try and touch on all of them briefly. And the status for your tenure as minister, you've received a 900% increase from 2025 allocation of 61.8 million, and that's the highest jump of any ministry. So you're getting the money. Is it that it's not enough, or the demands on the money are too much that you're not reaching the other places they should get to?
Well, I don't think that we have gotten enough, but I know that we don't have more than that to allocate, and that is why we think the private sector must be interested. The private sector must come in, and it is the reason why when Ibrahim Mahama attended one of our games at the World Cup, and we sat together and were having conversation, and when he saw the facility where we played against England, and he was really interested in supporting the system for us to be able to have something of that nature, whether it is renovating an old one or completely building a new. He feels that building new is easier than renovating what already is there.
Okay.
And if I looked at the figures that comes to my table, I will agree with him that sometimes if you have a good location, you have a good land somewhere, if you want to build something new, it allows you to introduce right from the beginning things that you want to introduce rather than renovating what already.
But that also doesn't mean we should neglect the other ones.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
There's things that happened in the past where funds are allocated for renovations and then you come and you don't. Those ones, I leave it to the investigative bodies have done their work and they will handle it. But we want to assure that any money that is allocated for purposes of renovating would make sure that we utilize it as such. Ghana, for example, has gotten the bid to host the U20 African Championship next year. Next year, CAF 1070, Ghana 1070. So it's a good converging point. But we cannot host this event if we don't upgrade some of our facilities. We need to upgrade them to a standard that will allow us to host these events. And so funding necessarily would have to come from government. But I think that the private sector can also get involved.
So it was staying a little longer on the funding. So I spoke about the 900% increase from 61.8 million cedis to 617.9 million cedis. And that's it for the allocations. In fact, it is by all 23 government ministries, yours is the highest.
Well, this is also because we did not receive anything for CAPEX in 2025. And so when in 2026, we commence the process for the construction of the 3 stadia, we now had CAPEX. So we had the CAPEX of 200 million being allocated as compared to zero in 2025. And also in 2026, we also had a World Cup. And a huge percentage of that money was also allocated for our participation in the World Cup.
Then it comes to the question about the breakdown. So you've spoken to us about the CAPEX.
150 million was actually allocated for purposes of the World Cup, 200 million for the commencement of the 3 stadia. So a chunk of it went into just these 2 items, which were not available in 2025. So it was not a jump per se that now you have so much that you can be able to commit some into renovating your facility. That's what I'm saying. We're still having a conversation around how to deal with renovation of some of our facilities and to make sure that we bring them to a level that they should be ready by March 2027 to enable us host the U20 competition where Ghana at 70, CAF at 70. And that we want to present ourselves that if you want to talk about youth in sports and youth, the youth level of sports, like the U20s, U18, U17, U15s, and what have you, Ghana should take that, should create a niche for itself. That is what we want to do. That's what we want to do. And I think that this is a golden opportunity for us, that at the time we are turning 70, being given opportunity to host a youthful sports competition like the U20, we need to take advantage of it.
No, we'll have to go on a break, but let's start Black Stats before we go on the break. We just returned from the World Cup. What would be your individual independent assessment of the team that performed at the World Cup?
Well, I would say the country abounds with a lot of talents, and I believe that when given the opportunity and put together to train and compete much more together, we will go very, very far.
But
we shouldn't also forget that. Well, I'm trying to lay a foundation before I talk about how we did, because if I talk about what we did without the foundation, it may. Don't forget that we failed in 2024 to qualify for the AFCON 2025.
Yes.
So we were one country that was at the World Cup that did not have opportunity of our players playing together in any serious competitive competition before the World Cup. So we mixed that opportunity. Cote d'Ivoire had it, Senegal had it, Morocco had it, I think Cabo Verde had it, Egypt had it, even Tunisia that left much earlier, I think we mixed out. So we never really had opportunity of these players playing together beyond the qualifiers. Of course, the change of the coach came late.
And why was it left that late?
Well, you know that as a minister, I've publicly spoken about the need to look at our technical side of everything.
Yeah.
But you can't do it alone. You, the minister, or the ministry or government, is needed in the appointment. But when it comes to the firing, you cannot do it alone. You may propose, but you need the FA to come on board.
So
how
early did you propose, and what was the delay? How long was the delay before it eventually happened?
If I had my own way, this could have happened even before we concluded our campaigns towards the qualification.
Oh, I see.
End, before we concluded. That was so that it would have given the chance, a new coach, the opportunity, because by the time we played our final games and the rest, we were sure of
qualification. So that's the time you wanted the
so
new
that
coach to
if it had happened really at that time, would have given him much more time, one more qualifier, and then almost all the friendlies to play.
What was the GFA saying as the reason why they wanted to play?
Well, they also shared, in my opinion, but they thought that let's finish the qualification process and then we can then do a proper analysis.
Yeah, we finished.
But finally, we finished. We played friendly. So in the course of the friendlies, things exposed themselves, and we all finally now agreed that we needed to do it, and it was smooth. You see, if we had pushed earlier that no, this is what you wanted, you could have created some problems that we all don't want. But we all agreed finally, and we did it at the time that we did it, and it was smooth, except that we must admit it didn't give the coach enough time to be able to prepare the team.
In terms
so the coach can only came in more from his comfort point, and so focused a lot more from his comfort point rather than the defensive comfort point, rather than working entirely in almost all the departments of the team. And I believe that these are lessons that we've learned. So in analyzing all these situations, I wouldn't say that the team did badly, because this was a team that when it was leaving, many of you, the analysts, gave them no chance that they will not even cross the group stage, that they will just go and be beaten as per the facts and then the history. That in the group, you were ranked 74. Then the closest to you was ranked 34, Panama. Then you have England. Then you have Croatia. All these are ranked topped. So how were you going to? So the thing was that we were going to just get, but this was a tournament that after 2 games,
we knew we had
qualified for the next.
So our performance,
round.
You're impressed generally.
Well, I won't say that. No, like I said earlier, football is passion, emotions, and everything. So you don't expect somebody to do well. The person starts doing well, you are happy, and then you start to aim even much higher. And so when you mix some way somehow, it doesn't give you full joy. So I wish we had gone further,
but we did well. We did
because look at the situation. Though football doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
The only team that is still in the competition till now from our group, or that we have encountered, is the one that could not beat us. All the other 2 that beat us are already out. Croatia 2-1, they are out. Colombia 1-0, they are out. England that we drew with are still in there. That's the nature of football.
Okay. So, fair enough. We did okay. We could have done better.
We could have. I think that, seeing what, especially Colombia was a good side. They were disciplined. They had played together. They took advantage of what we suffered, because you all know that we suffered some injuries at the back, and so it put a lot more pressure on us, and they took advantage at the time. Senaya was down with an injury, and we conceded that goal, and it remained so till the end. And so they just took their advantage. And lessons have been learned, and I believe that let's congratulate the team for what it is that they were able to. It was, I would say that it was a fair success for this campaign, knowing what we knew before we went in there, getting to the round of 32, for me, going out of the group stage to where we reached and how we exited. Even though people will say whether you lost by 1-0 or 5-0 or 10, you still exited. Yes.
So when we got to round of 32, 13.8 million cedis, that's what the country got.
That is what we will get.
That is what we will get. So we don't have the money yet.
Yeah, we don't have the money yet.
If we get the money, I mean, when we get the money, does it go to the GFA? It comes to the ministry?
No, so when we establish the sports fund, there's an act, 1159. That act says every money that as a country we make in our participation in any competition, in any international competition, whatever, whether it is athletics, whether it is volley, whether it is badminton, whichever, goes into the sports fund.
All of it?
All of it. The state will not even take anything for other budgetary support.
So the 30 million is going into the sports fund.
Unfortunately, we will not get 13.8 million because already FIFA had advanced some money to us for the preparation.
Out of the 13.8?
Out of the 13, you know, for every country that qualified, you were given, I think, 9.5. Later on, they enhance it. And out of that 9.5, they will give you an advance for preparation.
Okay.
So that will be used for some of your friendlies and pre-tournament campaign expenses that you do. And all that will clearly be indicated. There will be accountability for all that. Funds that have been managed by the FA, they will do so. So the remainder that will come will go to the sports fund first. Then after that, based on agreements, what should go to maybe the FA for FA's activity, what should go into sports infrastructure development and what have you, would also go into that. Government want to clearly see something being done with revenues we get from our participation in international competitions.
Okay.
So moving forward, with the establishment of the Sports Fund and Act 1159, we would make sure that all such monies go into the fund. So when we are doing stuff, you can point to the fact that when we went for the World Cup 2026,
we got
the money that we got is being put into this for people to be able to track.
Okay, makes sense. Let me take you a few steps back, and well, still on the Black Stars, of course. So we sacked Coach Otto, appointed Carlos Queiroz as coach for the World Cup. After the tournament, when we exited, he released a statement that almost communicated as though he was resigning. Later, we got to know he's not resigning. His contract has not ended. I understand he ends in August.
No, it ends this month.
It ends this month. What is the plan of? I mean, you also said that you play a role in appointing. You have a lot of say when it comes to appointing a coach. What's the ministry's direction in the coaching direction of the Black Stars? Are we maintaining him? Are we beginning negotiations, or we think it's not good enough for sacking him? What are we looking at?
I am part of the
team
group that will have a conversation. I'm not the final say, and so it will not be appropriate to share my clear opinions at this platform when we've not concluded the conversation around it. But what I'm picking from speaking to all those who I think one need to speak to so far that we have engaged, the feeling is that we should give him the opportunity to stay a bit longer, and that he has proven
he can do a job.
A coach matters and he can do a job if given the time to do so. That is the feeling. We are only discussing other conditions of engagement. That is the conversation that is going on now. Don't also forget that we are in July. We have only August to go. After that, in September, we start the AFCON qualifiers. And we are coming against Cote d'Ivoire first. In a way,
he's getting a 2-year contract.
Well, it's appropriate. If we have to give him, I would also join those who are calling for 2 years. So it will take you through to the AFCON. So there can be some level of stability. He can focus very well, prepare the team. And maybe we need to set him a target also for AFCON. If he achieves...
When the AFCON?
The AFCON is in, win or represent us at the very final stage. Because for a very long time...
go to the final and lose, you better not go. Just go and win the thing.
Well, you look at not qualifying to win. It's a good one if you achieve that.
The contract is signed for the World Cup. The details remain sketchy, Honorable. You've spoken about transparency. People do not know how much he's on. How much is the coach earning?
No. We spoke about this long ago. There were people who speculated and said he was earning 100,000. I said no. The coach earned just about, I think it was $80,000. The coach was not earning 100,000.
So 20,000 shy of the 100,000.
Yeah, shy of the 100,000.
Okay.
And we made his contract more of performance-based. And that was what we did with him.
And now that he has performed, it means he is likely to get more.
Yes, of course. There was something for taking us out of the group stage to the next stage. I don't have the figures of it, but we spoke to this before the World Cup. I mentioned it, so I'm surprised that we say that it wasn't spoken about. I spoke to it.
So the new contracts the conversations that are ongoing, how much are we looking at here? What are we pegging our highest at as a nation?
Well, we haven't pegged anything.
If we don't, it means the coach can come and say he wants
Well, let him come and say. Let him come and say what he wants, and then based on that, we'll talk.
How much are we willing to give him?
And I'm saying that let him come and say we are not negotiating on this platform. True. When we finish and then we agree, we will come and inform you.
I see. If we're still talking about the Black Stars, when we went to the World Cup, there were concerns about ticketing.
Yeah.
And people are talking a lot. The president said, we're not able to carry all of you to go to US and go and watch the game. So the people in the US, go and watch the game. We'll support you with tickets.
Yep.
Now there are reports that people in the US were buying tickets from Ghanaians here. And people are attributing it to officials belonging to the ministry, to the FA and all of that. I'm sure it has come to your notice.
No, it's come to my notice. Yes. But all those things are lies. If they were buying from the FA, fine. They will be able to buy from the FA because FA had tickets to sell.
To sell, yes.
Individual travel and tour companies also had some tickets they bought from the FA, and because they couldn't move the people that they wanted to move because they didn't get visas, will sell tickets. But what we as a ministry, government procured, nothing was put on sale. I've heard all those.
How many did the ministry procure?
We procured in all. Our intentions was to secure 3,000 tickets in all, 1,000 per game. But we didn't get all these 1,000 per game. The only game we got a full 1,000 was Ghana-England. The rest was about 974 and another 950 something for each of the two games. For England, we got 1,000 tickets. But you see, 1,000 tickets out of so many people who were looking for tickets, you still have a number that will not get.
it. So how was it distributed?
So what we did, we had supporters union. We didn't take them to Canada. The Ghana-Panama game, we didn't have the supporters union. We took a deliberate decision that the logistics of moving round was so difficult that we want to focus in a country where majority of the games will be played, which is the United States of America. So our game in Canada against Panama, we didn't have our core support union being there. Some on their own went. So we had more tickets to spare to give out to Ghanaians in diaspora in Canada than we had in the United States of America. Because by the time we came to the United States of America in Boston and Philadelphia, we have then now moved the supporters that we were moving, the few that we were moving into the United States of America. And many more Ghanaians from ministries, departments, agencies, and other private sector persons have also moved. We didn't sponsor them.
Yes.
They moved on their own also there. There are Ghanaians who have spent their monies to be there. So you needed to also support some of them with tickets. We had sponsors, people who made their money available for us to do what it is that we did. They were also entitled to some number of what? Tickets.
Okay.
So we gave them those tickets
So
also.
quotas were already
So
going.
quotas were already given. So for example, if you take the engineers and planners who were number one sponsor, the minimum they had a game allocation would be about 40 or 45.
Minimum.
Maximum
is what?
Maximum was about 70. Maximum was 70 for them because they gave us $2 million. And so if somebody gives you $2 million and you are
give them
giving
like
the
50
person
tickets
those tickets, and it was fair. Others, some gave maybe 1 million CDs, and another 2 million here, 5 million there. They also had certain number of tickets that were given them. Then we ran a raffle, and those who won, and we were able to facilitate their travel, and they got a travel document, were also given tickets. Then, of course, we have some other units that we needed to deal with. So tickets have been...
When you say units, you mean what?
So, for example, you have the FA. The FA itself. We sponsored some persons from who are related and working with the FA.
Now the FA,
the
FA also got their own tickets.
Of course, the FA had tickets, but it doesn't mean that as a mother you not sponsor. It's like saying that, okay, because your child has grown and is working, so when it gets to his birthday, you don't have to present anything to show responsibility.
So what did the FA do with their own tickets then?
Well, I don't know what they will do with their own tickets, but we also supported the FA, including even travel tickets for some nominees from the FA, because we sat down as a committee and planned all these things. Said the FA, the ministry, will have this and its related agencies. Don't forget, we have the National Sports Authority, we have the Sports Fund, you have the Winneba Sports College,
So in fact,
you have the...
By the time we finished, the tickets are
So
finished.
that was why when people were making so much noise without even finding out, without listening, then we had problems.
It's not a little bit too much that, I mean, the idea is that, quote unquote, well, I don't want to say ordinary Ghanaian, because you would also say that all the other people are ordinary Ghanaians.
Everybody is a Ghanaian. I don't see an extraordinary Ghanaian, and everybody is.
But if we're doing the allocations in that way, then are we not, disadvantaging a lot of people?
No. We were not disadvantaging anybody, because first and foremost, we're going for a World Cup. It's sports and it's football. There are former players. Indeed, at a point, FIFA says the game is for the legends. That's how they describe it. So you cannot leave out some of these persons. You'd have to give them that opportunity, because it is for them. It's their game. Then, of course, you have had people who have all their time run through and worked all through. They are sponsoring themselves. Like take maybe NSA that have worked all through, decides that, okay, aside maybe the two opportunities that you are giving us, we are able to raise some money to add a few more persons. They have sponsored themselves in terms of tickets.
Yeah.
Sometimes they arrive there, if they go to your accommodation point, you are able to accommodate. Then you say, don't give them match tickets. That would be unfair. And that just collect everything and go and give it to some other person. They had their share. And we allocated everything clearly. And I'm saying that, luckily, these are not tickets that you just hold in your hand and go and say, okay, this is yours. Patrice, take this, you take this, you take this. Those tickets are issued through an email. So the records are there.
So when we got to the US, when we got to Canada, for instance, based on the over 900 tickets, how many tickets were left for the people there who were not part of the quota arrangement, if you know?
So those who were not, because that side, we didn't go nationally, we didn't have supporters there. A chunk of the tickets, over 70-80% of the tickets really went to the unallocated persons, where maybe the High Commission took data of various persons, and so in that data they now analyze it into communities, groupings, these groupings. There are students groups who have, sometimes some of the students have actually organized themselves into Jama groups and so on and so forth. They get allocated. Some will have like 100, some will have 30, some will have like 50, depending on their numbers. Then the various communities. So the High Commission handle that. They will provide the data and say, okay, these are the email address, or these are the numbers. This is their leader. This is the email address of the leader. So the tickets are transferred into the email of that leader. Then he will now deal with his travel group for them to be able to move. That is how we work things out, even in the United States of America. Few, of course, will send individual emails here and there, and then you attend to them individually. But largely, you would have them in groups that they can easily be identified and be dealt. And this information is available. Luckily, you can't come and say that, oh, no, we just give out the ticket, or I don't know the person. They queue and we're sharing the ticket. So they came as Ghanaians, they were wearing Ghanaian jerseys and then the rest, and so we give to them. That is not how it was done. It was done through an email. So the trail is there, the data is there. Anybody who wants can have that data and begin to follow up to find out, oh, I saw patrice56@gmail.com. Did you receive a ticket? The ticket that you received, did you pay for it, or it was? That information is available. People are blowing hot air and peddling falsehood. You see, where I realized that people were actually fabricating and lying was when we played Croatia. At the point I was hearing so many things after the Boston. We were buying, they were selling tickets. Of course, people will sell tickets because people bought tickets and people profit from World Cup. Whether Ghanaians or any other, it's a time for people to make business. Because FIFA itself, even though they frown on resale of their tickets, for this particular World Cup, they said the American laws allowed for it. So even when they interview the FIFA president himself and asks about the final match tickets that were going in millions, when that was not what they actually put those tickets up for, he said, well, it's the laws of the host country that allowed for that. So people profited, people benefited, people bought tickets for less and sold for high. People bought tickets before the tickets were actually launched.
Right.
So you will get it at a lower price than when it was ultimately launched. But they will sell it so you may see retail the face price. Value, the retail price, okay, and the actual value price.
Okay.
FIFA didn't give, as far as I know, I didn't see any complimentary ticket. Every ticket was priced. Complimentary tickets are not given price tags. When you are being given complimentary tickets, they are written there complimentary. We were not given, nobody sold any complimentary ticket. Every ticket that the FA people were selling were tickets that have priced tags, meaning that either they bought it to sell, or it was allocated for them, and they would have to go and account to FIFA or whichever group gave them those tickets.
Okay.
They were not meant for us for free. We, I mean, as ministry or government, also bought our tickets through the FA.
But you still give them some to go in.
Of course, we still have to go their part. As part of our allocations, we had them in there. So we needed to do that.
Do we have an idea how much in total it cost Ghana to go to the World Cup, participate, and then come back?
So that data is being gathered. I believe that by the time I get to the office today, we should be done basically with it, unless something crops up again that was not known to this team.
What should we expect it?
My wish was that even before the World Cup itself ended, Ghana should have been able to present our report and to dust everything off. But let me get to the office and then I will
Two more questions,
about that.
Before you go. Why have we neglected other disciplines in Ghana?
We haven't neglected any discipline.
Weightlifting, women's football.
We haven't neglected any discipline at all.
Why don't you pay good enough attention to them?
Indeed, if you ask some of the federation leaders, they will tell you this is the time that many of them, their activities have seen a lot of support from the ministry and the presence of government officials in their activities. They will tell you clearly. I don't know why people choose to write what comes into their head and not what the facts are. For example, me, my first attendance of tournament and being with a team was with the Black Queens in Morocco. I was with them for a reason, an important assignment that needed to be done in Ghana here because I didn't have a deputy. I flew back again to come and attend to that assignment. We played our game before I left, and we lost that game against Morocco, and that was our semi-final game against Morocco. We lost it. I flew back to Ghana to attend to that agent business. I went back to the camp again, just so to be able to motivate the girls that, look, fight on. Don't think that because you've lost your semi-final game, that's the end of it. And truly, they fought on and defeated South Africa for a third place spot. And we didn't just leave them like that. They came back, we organized a heroic welcome for them, took them to Parliament, took them to the presidency, had a dinner with them. All these treatments that we extended to the Queens, nobody is talking about it. The presidency offered them a package, supported them when we went there. Nobody is talking about it. At the point, me myself, from my pocket, I equally also supported them. But they see everything wrong. It's as if Black Stars, we all want to always throw negativity towards them. So when anything is seen around them, it means that you are not supporting the other disciplines. But that is wrong. Volleyball, the level of support I've given to volleyball, ask them, even at the club level, Kalibi, even the Ghana Armed Forces, when they qualify for the West African competition and they thought that they couldn't go, I have to fund their air tickets to enable them go. Volleyball, that is volleyball. Badminton, the same thing.
Athletics.
School athletics, the same thing. They are enjoying the same support. Indeed, this was about the first time that we hosted an event of that level here. As we speak now, Commonwealth Games, every athlete has been boxing. They went for training. Their ticketing and everything has been organized. They are there. All the other athletes, they are living by today is what, 14th. I think the last batch of athletes will leave today. So the Queens.
It's not true.
It's not true.
Not paying attention to them.
It's not true. With the little that we have, government is doing so well to make sure that we support all sectors. The first school sports that was done, we made sure, even though ticketing price shot up unnecessarily so high, still we made sure that we participate.
I know that you have to go. I said two questions. This is my very last question.
Hope that is the last because I have to go.
What is your Okay, then let me ask it well. Let me put it together. How is it like working with a GFA? What is your working relationship with a GFA?
Well, there are people who think that we should be publicly fighting to show that you are working, and when you are fighting GFA, that's what shows that. This is a group that is managing your biggest sport, which is football. How do you manage a system with them by just fighting? My style is that I don't normally see people as the problem. I see problems. I bring the problems and say, these are the issues that have been identified. Can we work together to resolve them? It is only when you prove to me that you are not ready and prepared to cooperate for us to resolve them, then I now see you as a problem. And if need be to fight you, I'll fight you. So far, it's not been bad. So far, it's not been bad.
You mean your working relationship with them?
A working relationship is not bad at all.
Okay.
It's not bad at all. And that is how it should be. And we get commended internationally and by the international federations, whether at the CAF level or at the FIFA level, for that kind of relationship that we are building, which is needed to grow the sport. What we want is for private sector to be assured that transparency has become the order of the day, and that their penny, their peswa, their cedi that goes into supporting sports will be used for what it is intended for.
You support a fair term for Keto.
So, no, I'm not interested in who they elect and how they elect their officers. That is for the federation to deal with. I don't run any federation.
Yes,
I'm a minister. The people they elect, we work with them, are the one we work with. It's not government that appoints FA officials. The time when government used to appoint the MND, Jawules era, and the rest, where government used to appoint FA officials, is no more what happens now. The federations elect their officials, and once they follow their constitution and the national constitutions, we work with them. If they fall foul of their own constitution and the national constitution and make anything against all these two accepted statutes, then we'll take them on. We'll take them on. And that one, I'm prepared to take anybody on. But if you don't give me the facts, like someone came and said, oh, the brother was asked to pay 70% of his fees or something before he can be selected into. Well, he has come to deny that. If like that was true, and people petition and we investigate it to be so, we'll take action. But so far, I think that story is already crumbling. It is crashed on arrival. But one other thing I want to tell you is that player per diem, even for this World Cup, we put it on cards. We didn't pay anybody cash. For someone to go and be taking someone's money. No, we put everything on cards. Their appearance fee or whatever was transferred direct into their account. So if you yourself later decide to go and take something and give to somebody, that one is between you and that private person.
Thank you.
We didn't give anything to the FA for the FA to go and be the ones to pay them. Per diem, we didn't give them on the table. It was in their cards,
electronic,
giving them. That was how we handled this situation, so that everything can be followed and everything can be defended.
Well, Adams, we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll
find some time to come and talk more. There's so much to talk about. Plenty. And your platform is a great one. We'll come around.
We appreciate your presence. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.